To the Batmobile. Let's go.
So when MSI came to us with this challenge of building a Lego machine, the first thing that came to mind was Batman, because that Batman set was released it's kind of end of last year or beginning last year, and it was part of the inspiration for something that could potentially be easy. But then we started looking into buying a couple of boxes, just trying to build it ourselves, and we soon realized that that is not really the way to do it. I've seen people attempt kind of just out of the box building of a computer, and it seemed like one hell of a daunting task. Of course, we were big fans of the Lego user group of South Africa and what they do, obviously always seeing them at the fairs and their genius builds. So we approached them and kind of put the challenge to them. And we can be lucky that they accepted, because this is what we got. A couple of months ago, we brought a challenge to you guys, to the Lego user group, to build a Batman-themed computer. We had a rough idea of what we wanted, and I could see initially you guys were, I don't know if it's gonna work, but we'll try. That's what it seemed like. Tell us what your first thoughts were when we kind of pitched this idea to you.
Sure. So I think without saying, without sort of missing, should I say rather, that there was a couple of us involved in this project.
Yeah.
And that being said, we put sort of the best that we could on that from a technical aspect. Meaning we had guys that were really good at putting together structural, strong methods into Lego play. We had guys that were involved from a system and making it look pretty or cosmetically appealing. Overall, yeah, it was a challenge. And I think the nice thing about challenges like that is that we get involved in the sense that it's something that doesn't necessarily exist right now. The beauty about some of the sets is you did come to us with the offering of we wanting something relating to Batman. The beauty is that the Shadowbox set had come out, and that really had kind of a structural shape that we could follow. It being more of a system build meant that it probably would hold for what it was built for. But we'd really need to reverse engineer and make a structure that would hold a computer, hold the components of screws, and we put our thinking caps on as a team, and we came together and built an incredible frame and started creating the initial set that was there.
So I was going to ask if you had a tip for anybody wanting to build a Lego PC. Where would you start and what would be your tip be? But it sounds like Technique Lego or Lego Technique Kit is where you should be starting.
Yeah, I think definitely coming to that. So when it comes down to the two differentiators that you've got in Lego, is you've got your Technique Lego, which, if those aren't aware, sort of looks like your strong beam that's perforated. The other side is System Lego. So System Lego is kind of what you see from the outside of things, and that makes things look cosmetically appealing. That being said, you can have some beautiful pieces that are just 100% Technique, and they can look really good, and Lego's come a long way. But when it comes down to the roots or the foundation for the computer that we built, or the computer case rather, we found that the best components was definitely building it out of a Technique frame. And I would suggest that to anybody based on the fact that it's scalable, you can make it extremely strong. Prior to us putting any of the system components or the system bricks onto the actual computer case itself, we were able to completely lift that computer with the components just in a Technique frame. It could stand on its own.
You are set up, you obviously, in the Lego user group, you guys have access to a lot of the Lego that a lot of people don't. You also generally just have more kits because this is your lifestyle, right? How do people get hold of parts? I mean, short of just digging into their own collected Lego sets and kind of hacking things together like we all do,
etc.
What's the next level from there? Where do we get parts from?
So there's a couple ways to source parts. The one being that there's some great sets that are out there that are in the 2,000-3,000 part count sets. And some of those we call part donors. And we call it that because access to parts in those sets come in good quantities or color variations that make it more cost effective to buy those in that route. The other reason for that would be you may buy a set and want to build it knowing that you have fun building the set, you follow the instruction, and then you've got access to those parts to make use of afterwards. And some of us will empty those out into our drawers, which is what sits behind me. The other alternative would be that guys want to keep a set on their shelf. However, there is a fantastic system or sort of platform that you can access now called Bricklink. Bricklink is an online-based store, and we had to source a bunch of parts for this project in actual fact, because as much as you think that there's a lot of parts behind me, there are other individuals within the Lego user group that have got far much more.
What can you tell us about the story that you've built into the Batman case?
The story behind it was really showing that sort of deep and dungeony cave that Batman's lair sits in. There has to be a space for his car and sort of his route to realm on where he gets his messages and where he needs to fight crime. And that was kind of really the thinking, is understanding is where does he go home to? And I feel like it talks to two characters, right? Gamers are creatures of habit. We feel that that's where you come home to. You come home to playing your games, turning on your machine, playing endless hours. We kind of did that in a similar concept. We sat building a computer case for absolute hours on end. And the collective behind it is to show you this is Batman's home. This is where he gets his instruction. It's where he has his cup of tea. And you'll see the characters we've included that really tell that story. So at the Lego user group, we really enjoy challenges. We often find ourselves building massive structural display sets, or not rather sets, but mocks. And that talks to the community. So I think something like this from MSI was a great challenge. There was sort of, how do we get this done? How do we put heads together? We're trying to do something that doesn't exist right now. And I think that was a fantastic opportunity for us. It was a huge challenge, and the reward from it, I think, is we're sitting now with an absolutely incredible, one-of-a-kind computer case, at least at this current state.